BetOnline is the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet of up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. BetOnline has every stat, every matchup, and even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. When the game's over, head on over to our online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker, or unwind with one of our over 150 slots games. Head to the website today to get in on the action. Use promo code BLEAV for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online. The game starts here.
Your thoughts on Mr. Mulligan, what you expect out of him this season, and just what you think of him as a back.
I mean, if you're looking at returning backs in the conference, right? We're looking at the total number of yards that an individual has at that position. He's right there at the top. So why would you not elect to put him or have him in your top as a first teamer? Because he probably had the most yards in returning back. And he only did it in so many games.
Handful of games, yeah.
So yeah. I don't know how anyone or the poll people or how they voted. I don't know how they did it. And sometimes it's okay. You want to do that and you want to be like that. When Ahmad Mulligan comes back, now you're giving him bulletin board material to work with. Now opposing teams have to contend with that. And that's something that they'll have to deal with. Because let me tell you, if it were me, and I always try to put myself in these guys' shoes, and I tell them point blank, if it was me, I'm mad and I'm upset. Now I'm running through everybody.
An upset Mulligan. Oof.
Yeah, I mean, he was leading the conference before he got hurt. It's unfortunate. I think statistically he was third. There were two backs that got to play in whatever this minimum, whatever the most amount, whatever that criteria is that the SWAC just came up with this year. About games played. I checked it, Coach. He played in 8 games last year. So, I mean, if you get 8 games out of 11 and the two, I'm going to do this real quick and I'll move on. The two that were on second team, when you add their yards together, Coach, their total was only 45 yards more than what Irv did for the year.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. For them being combined.
Combining them two.
And you're talking about a single entity versus two that takes
that was disappointing. I thought that for sure he would have been, at least second team. I'm okay with not being first team because of the other two backs that had more yards. But Irv, I mean, he was leading rushing, and when we had Evan on at media day, Evan was like, man, even a few weeks after he got hurt, he was still leading the conference.
Yeah. Correct.
So that's pretty substantial, it is what it is.
Yeah, and it's sad, but how that happens. But like I said, we like I told him, I said we control our controllables. Those things that we cannot control, we don't worry about it.
Yeah.
We let everything else do the speaking for itself. We let you play on the field, do your speaking. Because when you come back and you're for the season and we get started and we get enrolled, you do your thing and you shine and let everybody take notice. Because they will take notice. I mean, he looks good. Physically, he looks better than he did. He's a little bit thicker, a little bit more put together. So, and I think he's going to do some really good stuff. And his mindset is right, which is good, for us, and it's good for that room because he's real quick to point out, good, bad, or indifferent on anyone and himself.
Right.
Which is what I want those guys to do, is how I coach that room. When we're watching film or we're watching something that they've done in the spring, I don't like to say anything. I want them to critique each other on what I've been instilling in them, on their footwork, on their vision, on their pad level, on how their shoulders are turned. The very detailed things. Are they taking their eyes to the ball? Are they clasping the ball when they're in traffic? It's just different things that they've gotten to a point to where they point all of those things out, and that's because they've taken coaching, and they know that, hey, okay, yeah, coach's expectations are high, and I know what I got to do in order to maintain them, or maintain him, understanding that he can trust me when I'm on the football field. Because at the end of the day, I told him, I said, listen, if I trust you, you're going to play. If I don't trust you, you're not on the field, because I don't think I can trust you and depend on you. So it takes a lot, but he's one of those ones that has taken the coaching and taken instruction well. And let me tell you, it's kind of refreshing to see, because you'll sometimes have a new coach come in. You got an old player who's a senior who's pretty daggone good and done some good things in that conference, and they don't always want to, listen from the very start. They eventually slowly will, but he was one that from day one, he was already on it.
Awesome. Yeah. Next up, in the words of Zoe, Jacktown Dog, J.D. Martin.
J.D. Martin. Hey, I'm gonna tell you, man, I told you, I like J.D. Hey, J.D.'s a little sly. He's slick. He's a slick runner, man. I'm telling you, he's sneaky fast, sneaky slippery, and yet he can make one move and make you miss, and like I said, that's why he's got that little Amp Lee-ish in him. You know what I mean? And then he's patient and he can see things and set stuff up. A lot of guys, and I told them guys I said, y'all don't even know who Amp Lee is. I said, but JD, you remind me of Amp Lee, but you're faster than Amp Lee. I said, and he was a heck of a running back. Honestly, I was playing running back in college, and I used to watch Amp Lee.
Wow.
I think I was faster than Amp Lee, but I'm just but I just like the way he would move and dip and slip and slide, and then I like the patience of Le'Veon, which now I'm gonna be honest with you, I had a little patience in me back in the day. I would stutter, tap, and then go. So I would do those things too. And I told him, I said, listen, guys, if you can be patient, and especially like JD, he is patient, and then when he see it, he is getting it, And I mean, it's one game that they were playing last year. He should have had about 300 some yards, but he wound up hurting that little toe and then started limping on it. I'm like, he was still killing them on a limp toe, you know. So he's really good. I like him, and like I said, he's another one that has. We were texting the other day, and he was telling me, he's like, yes, sir, coach, I'm ready to go. As soon as we get back, I'm ready. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do okay, we're gonna do it. You just be ready to go, because you better be a horse, because I will rotate backs in.
And you don't have a choice this year.
Exactly. Hey, I got a lot of guys to keep happy. You know what I mean? I got a lot of guys to keep happy, but what it is though, I'm honest and upfront with them, all of them. I don't shun any of them, and I don't seek comfort in this whole coaching thing. Like I heard Mike Tomlin say, I don't seek comfort at all in coaching. I want my room to be competitive. I want to have to make the tough decisions and say, hey, okay, you got the nod, you're going in, you're doing this, or it's 3rd and 2. Hey, coach, what do you want to run on 3rd and 2? Okay, we're running this. Okay, this is the back I want in there. You know what I mean? So I'm upfront with them. And like I said, I'm not going to always just go with what the status quo is or what everybody else want me to do. I'm going with what, I've seen, from a coaching perspective out of them, because the eyes can be deceived. The eyes cannot deceive you what you see on film from a kid that you're actually coaching, but they can be deceiving if you're not paying attention to what you're coaching.
Right. Yep. Looking for a big season out of JD, hoping he can stay healthy. That's the thing that we want to see from him, because we know if he gets the touches, if he's able to actually play, he's going to produce. So looking forward to that. Another one, you mentioned him as well, but I want to hear a little bit more about him. Desmond Moore. He had a somewhat of a breakout season last year. I know he had a couple games, especially that Southern game. I'm pretty sure you watched it. That stands out. So you talked about him being able to carry the workload. So what do you like about him? What do you expect from him?
Well, here's the thing about Dez. Dez is a coachable, really good person. And anytime, there's any measure of any type of criticism, he's taking it and eating it and saying, okay, coach, I got you. No problem. Or he'll come out to practice, say, coach, what can I work on better? What can I do more? What do you want me? What do you want from me? And Dez did have some good things happen to him last year. But here's the thing, though. For me, Dez will be a different type of runner this year. I need Dez to do a lot more inside running. and he does have some skill set to get outside. But like I said, I need some downhill guys too, and we got so many backs. There's a plethora of them. Everyone has to have a role, so they got to figure out what their role is and what I'm actually assigning them as their role based on what their skill set is, based on the size, height, weight, and physical characteristics that they can hold and withstand and maintain. Now, he can be a kind of a catch-all because he does a great job in blitz pickup. So he can be there on third downs when people want to light it up. Or he can be in there, I think, when it's short yardage. So it's a little bit, he's a cross between the JD and the Irv, but he's not as fast as JD. You know what I mean? So it's a little bit tricky there. But one thing I do like about this room is the depth that we would have and the experience that we would have coming off of the bench in lieu of something happening from an injury standpoint. Because I wouldn't want to see us in a situation where we're totally saying, okay, we got to go with this guy just because. No, we still have quality players who can fill in for this guy if one goes down. JD, if JD or Irv goes down, then I know, okay, Dez is a number 3 guy who can go in and, okay, there shouldn't be a whole lot of drop off in productivity and moving the chains. Because for me, it's all about moving the chains. The more we can move the chains, the more yards we churn. The more yards we churn, the better the outcome of the game is in our favor. Because now our defense isn't on the field. And when they go in, they just light it up and take control.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Next up, freshman, I guess you can say freshman phenom. Last year had a really good season. Ahmad Miller.
Ahmad's different. He's a funny guy. Now we're in our room, and sometimes, and I have fun with these guys when we're in the room. So it ain't always just serious, but it's serious. It's not serious, but it's serious, and they take me serious. But Ahmad, man, I tell you, Ahmad is probably he's one of the strongest backs in the room. And size-wise, he's what you're looking for.
Yep.
Everything is there. The whole entire makeup is there. The physical characteristics are there. I just need Ahmad to say, hey, I'm willing to do some things, coach, that I probably didn't do last year. And if he can tell me that and I can have trust and faith in him, then he will play. But, and he's shown it, and we've talked about it, and we've discussed it, and we've actually gone over it when we watched film together of previous, last year. And, and then trying to break down some film and watch stuff of what our opponent's doing for the first game of this year coming up. So, but yeah, Ahmad, he has good speed. He's got good size, and he's got good abilities. And his contact balance isn't bad. So he can take hits and still bounce off and keep moving. Sometimes he's got enough speed to bounce off and go outside and hit outside. But, at the same time, I think he's also one of those types. He'll be a good quality guy that's in a 4-deep rotation with those other 3 guys that we mentioned earlier. And I don't think there should be a drop off. I think there's a lot he brings to the table that we could benefit from on this football team. And he has good hands. He can catch the ball well too. Might add.
Also, I want to talk a little bit about Zeke. He came on towards the end of last season. Actually got a start. That was mostly due to injuries, but I know he works hard. And he impresses a lot of people who aren't aware of him, even the commentators. If you're watching the game, they're like, who is this guy? Who is he? Where did he come from? He runs hard. I know he's working to get back, healthy 100%. What do you like about him?
I like that he's tough and he's hungry and he's gritty. He plays the game with grit.
Yep.
And he's going to give you everything that he's got. And he's not going to shy away from contact. Zeke isn't the biggest, but Zeke will stick his nose in there when it's a blitz coming. And he's going to let a linebacker know, hey, you ain't coming in here thinking it's going to be easy cakewalk, because he did it in the spring a few times, and I was impressed. And he took the coaching, so he had the right foot up, had to shot the hands, put the crown of the helmet on the chin, buckle the guy's head back. I was like, okay, this is what I'm talking about. I like Zeke. He may be a walk-on, but let me tell you, he's one of the toughest I've seen. And I think by the time he leaves out of here, he could make some headway. And and he runs the ball just as well. Now, Zeke is a little different up top now. Zeke is a little, he's a little different. And he doesn't shy away from anything. And sometimes I have to tell him, hey, look, man, you ain't got to always take them hits now. Sometimes you got to learn to, preserve your body a little bit. Don't just think that always you can do that. Don't always want to do it. I like the toughness, but hey, you can make a guy miss, get more yards, and get on down the road and keep going.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
Oh man, this is one of my favorites right here, because Coach, when we talked, we talked about big backs, man. True freshman. The Nate train.
Nate train.
Nate Blunt the fourth.
Hey, you know what?
Here for the spring also. Early enrollee.
Yeah, early enrollee. Now, let me tell you one thing. You could tell he was still in high school in the spring. But after spring and the summer came, it's like there was a totally different Nate Blunt. And I think he grew. I'm telling you, he grew exponentially. And that is why it's important. If you can get a guy in early enrollee and we can work it out in the numbers and we can figure it out, from a scholarship standpoint to get in early enrollee and a kid can graduate early, it's like night
like
and
a red
day.
shirt season to me. I look at it almost like a red shirt.
Yeah, he already redshirted. And I told him after he took the first snap in practice, I said, hey, look, you're no longer a freshman.
There you go.
You know what I mean? So now you've grown. So, hey, look, anytime you take that first step, that first snap, you're no longer a freshman.
Yep. So
now you have embodied this whole spirithood of being a sophomore because you've gotten through that first one. But when I saw him this fall, he grew mentally. His mental game stepped up. And that's what was lacking because he had to figure out first, am I fitting in or how am I going to fit in? And he was, he was brand new, just like I was. But I can tell he was a senior in high school. And when by the time he got here, like in this summer, totally different. His work ethic changed. His weightlifting, his thought process in the weight room changed. His conditioning changed. I mean, he was kind of like lagging in the back, letting everybody kind of lead when we were running conditioning. Come this summer, no, he's right up there with the pack. Yeah. And hey, he's got great size. He's 220 pounds, and he can when he runs over his pads, he can do some damage. Choo-choo. And his hands have gotten a lot better this spring too. This summer from spring, he's gotten a lot more comfortable. And I told him, I say, Nate. I said, man, you starting to catch the ball a little better. He said, yeah, coach, I'm more comfortable. I said, that's what it takes. You got to catch a lot of footballs. Catching a lot of footballs. So him doing that, and let me tell you, he knows what it was like to be physical. And I'm going to tell you, a lot of guys, I told him, I said, you're going to have a lot of guys coming right at your ankles. So just be prepared for it.
They ain't going to want to go up top with him.
No. I wouldn't want to go. If you look at him out there without pads on, he off that bus, you like, oh no, I'm gonna hit him low. And then he's got a nice lower body too. So it's not like you gotta pick your poison and say, hey, okay, I'm gonna take him high up or I'm gonna go low on him. But at the same time, I've been working on his bend and his hips because of that. Because I told him, I said, guys are gonna hit you low and you gotta be able to dip that shoulder into them. Or we're gonna slide and dive off of it, or we're gonna reduce surface and give them a low shoulder. So there's a lot of different things that I've been telling those guys we put in your tool belt, and Nate's been collecting everything. He said, Coach, my tool belt getting full. He said, I ain't never had so much in my tool belt. That's why I tell them they got tool belts when they get, when they're going through drills and different things that they can use in their arsenal when they're on the field. So, but yeah, he's definitely taking a turn for the better. And like I said, I got a tough problem.
Yeah, good problem.
Yeah, tough, good problem.
Yeah. Coach, I want to show some love to Amari Matthews. I know he hasn't gotten a ton of carries over the course of his career, but he's a kid who will do whatever you ask. And I say that because he was thrown into the mix last year and we didn't have a kicker, and he did some place kicking duties. Imagine that.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I come in, I'm watching this game. I'm like, who is that kicking off? He's like, that's Amari. I said, what? Are you kidding me? So anyway, then we go into our team meeting, and I'm like, Mari, we're going to have to learn how to get you to kick off better. First off, you got to start learning how to kick the ball deep. That little kickoff stuff you doing, them little bloops. But I told him, I said, that's funny. But you know what though? He had a really good spring.
Okay.
And I know Ken was there a lot of days. Amari has some longer runs than most in spring ball.
Yep.
Yeah, and he did some really good stuff. And I like Amari. Now, Coach, everybody jokes with me about Amari because I favor Amari because I like him because I think he's like an underdog. And I like that underdog who's hungry, who's going to do everything he can, and he's smart. He's very intelligent. He's an intelligent football player, so I like that about him. And every now and then I would put him in. Coach, is that who you want in the game? Coach, is he in there? Okay, that's who I want in there. Don't ask me that no more. You know what I mean? That's what Coach Taylor. I hope he don't see this part and he don't say something to me.
He will.
But yeah, so he was like, "Is that who you want in there?" I'm like, "Coach, he good. That's Amari. Amari gonna have a longer." And sure enough, he'll break one for about 15, 20 yards in practice. So he had a really good spring, and where he stacks up, I don't know where he fits in. He's gonna be a short down yardage guy. But at the same time, he's not bad hands. But I think there's a place for him as well as all those other backs.
Coach, next up, I'm interested to see who your comparison to this player is. Transferred in Eastern Michigan, Bryson Moss.
He's different.
Yeah.
Now, believe it or not, he's the strongest. He's probably the strongest running back on the team.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. And he's a sneaky strong because you wouldn't think he was that strong. I mean, he'll go in the weight room, throw 3 plates like it ain't nothing, like for reps. I mean, and just hit it. But he's quick. You know what I mean? He's quick. He's got quick twitch. He's got great hands. He can play in space.
Yeah.
And let me tell you, we go on our empty set. I like to see him out there in a lot of it. He's got good size on him. So he can be used in various ways. And he won't be a drop off. I think he may shock a lot of people. Coach, especially when we get the ball to him in space.
You know who he reminds me of?
Who does he remind you of?
Ryan Westbrook.
You know what? I can see that.
I watched him work out.
Stature.
I watched him work out. Just kind of they working out. Corey, I came to the chat. Mm-hmm. He might have the best hands at running back that I've seen in quite a while. He did not drop a ball at the workout. Not once. He didn't drop one. I'm talking about bad balls, good balls. If it got in this area,
he was going to catch it.
I was like, man, I was impressed. That's the thing that jumped out at him. I was like, man, he got really good hands.
But
so I'm watching him, and
he runs great routes too.
Yeah, he does.
He runs receiver routes.
Yeah, he's a Swiss Army knife back there.
He is.
He can get low and everything. Yeah.
He is. But the thing about him is, like Coach Taylor and I talked about, we might have to let him play slot because he can catch that well and he can run that great of routes. And when I say that, Corey, I mean like this guy, like the receiver coach is asking me, and I'm like, no, you ain't taking not one of them. No, you know what I mean? So,
he said, I'm leaving with some.
But yeah, he's. Let me tell you, when he gets in pass, you'll see he's gonna make people miss in space. And when he gets in space, he can run, and he's got good speed, and he has like Ken said, he has great hands for a back. He is a Michael Westbrook type, and they're about the same stature almost. You know what I mean? Same skill set, speed.
Yeah.
And can run away from you and catch the ball out of the backfield.
Now I gotta say this, Coach. I know Corey's finna go because the interview is getting real long.
3-part series. 3-part.
Bryson, listen to me when you watch this. All Tiger fans gonna be like, "Oh man, Ken said in here, you better not get in the game and drop a ball because they're gonna come back. They're gonna get us the inbox." Ken, I thought I'm just teasing. I know he's gonna do just fine.
Hey Ken, sometimes you're gonna drop one. You're gonna drop one. It's gonna happen. You know what I mean? But I just try to tell them, hey, look, just make sure it's not at a critical moment.
Yeah.
So
no fumbles, all that good stuff.
All that good stuff. Absolutely. Knock on wood on that. Yes.
Coach, let's get into this dynamic freshman class of running backs. I don't know if you intentionally recruited these guys as running backs or they got on campus and you got lucky and they end up in your backfield. You talked about Coach Marshall saying he's going to lead with something. It looks like you're up. If you look at the battle here, this wide receiver versus defensive back versus corners versus running back, I think you're up. I don't know what you're doing. I want to start with one guy, Mr. Travis Terrell, man. Impressive kid. He's coming for it all. He's going for it all. We had him on Tiger Talk, 3-star kid, and you got him in that running backs room.
No, you're talking about, did he say Travis Terrell?
Travis Terrell. Yeah, Corey, you had chopped up a little bit. Travis Terrell.
Travis.
Special.
You just got to watch out for Travis. That's all. I don't really want to say a whole lot. You got to watch out for Travis. Travis, he's special.
Yeah.
Those type come around every so often. Like not too soon. And not soon enough, but it happened. And he's different. His maturity level is different. His thought process is different. His work ethic is different for a freshman. You know, is he first game ready? Yeah. As a freshman. Yeah. He's special. That's all I can. I mean, I don't want to let the cat out of the bag, but he's going to be a problem. He's going to be a problem. Hands, speed, quickness, toughness, ability to run routes, ability to block, willingness to block. Mm-hmm. Yeah. He's going to be special.
Tiger Talk TV is presented by Bet Online.